Gold Squad TV. What up, man? So I wanted to do a video because there's been a lot of allegations over the years about Fat Joe when it comes to his pen. I've been a Fat Joe fan since 1992 when he was on Diamond D's Stunt Blunts album, and then he had his first album, she dropped Flojo on, Fat Joe the Fat Gangster. And I think I want to clear something up for people that want to sit there and throw the ghostwriting rumors at Fat Joe. Fat Joe could write his own shit. I think we pretty much know this now. Fat Joe was still kind of early in the game when it came to his pen game and his first album. But I think people misconstrue ghostwriting. Ghostwriting versus getting a little help. So ghostwriting is when somebody sits down with you and writes your whole verse for you, and then tries to pretty much makes you rehearse the verse that he wrote. It's the delivery, so forth. The best way I could kind of describe this when Puff, like if Puff does a hook or does a rap, you know Puff ain't write that. Not that Puff ain't apologetic for Puff don't write his own shit, but there's definitely a time where Pharaoh Monch wrote a rhyme for him, and you could tell that was Pharaoh. And it wasn't just one of those things to where, he gave him a few lines and helped him with his delivery. You could tell Pharaoh wrote the whole verse from him. Now, since this whole Cuban Link Fat Joe beef has been going on since 2000, 2001-ish, Cuban Link and some of the Terror Squad members have been going around doing this man's business out there, saying that Big Pun wrote a lot of capital punishment. And then they also had a hand in Fat Joe's verses. I think people misconstrue that. I don't think Pun wrote Fat Joe's album. I think Pun helped him. I know this because I used to be a rapper. And it's not really that hard to help another rapper. Like, my uncle never wrote a rhyme for me. I wrote my rhymes. But it's pretty basic and pretty common. Where it's like you have a word that you're kind of struggling with, or you're having certain enunciation struggle with a certain thing. You kind of ask another rapper's opinion, and you kind of see like, what word can I really use, or what kind of way I could kind of spit this. You spit the verse, and then he kind of goes through it, and like maybe you should say it this way, or say it that way, or even like producers versus they do the same thing. The Wu-Tang, they're known for helping each other with, like, they didn't write their shit, but like write each other's shit. But when they need to lend a line or lend a bar, they were known for that. And I'm pretty sure that's what Terror Squad was doing. I think Pun was lending lines to all of them, not just Fat Joe, the Cuban Link, the Prospect, the Armageddon, the Triple Six, and they all helped each other out. They all gave each other certain bars. None of them sound the same. Even Fat Joe, you might have some of the multi-syllable that Pun has, like in some of his songs, but Pun might have helped him more with his delivery, which is nothing wrong with that. That doesn't mean he wrote his whole verse. Fat Joe said that he sat him down and he taught him. And if Joe would write something, and Pun would be like, "Nah, that's trash. Put it away." Right? Write again. And he would have him constantly write until. And Fat Joe, I can understand why Fat Joe would want to do that. Fat Joe was already nice before Pun was even in the picture. He wasn't better than Pun, I mean, but Joe was nice before. It's a reason Diamond D even got him off the streets. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of you people don't know digging in the crates. It was Fat Joe's crew. So just because Pun might have helped him with delivery a little bit, kind of like schooled him to rapping, the, and maybe a couple of the rappers might have threw a couple bars in there to help, doesn't mean they ghost wrote for Fat Joe. It just means that you guys helped each other out in a team environment. They say that that Joe always needed help with his bars and always needed help with his rhymes because they're mad at him and they're in the middle of a scandal right now, which is the spear campaign to say fuck Joe, to fuck Fat Joe, which is whack. You don't gotta like Fat Joe. There might be things you don't like about Fat Joe, but you can't deny the dude's talent. The dude has been writing for a very long time. If King's Son helped him on the first album and try to help him with his bars, that doesn't mean he ghost wrote for him. He just helped him out with a couple bars here and there. It's a big difference. And it's different than when Drake was doing it, and when Drake was literally having bars ghost wrote for him by Quentin Miller, there was reference tracks. It's a big difference. You have Quentin Miller spitting the verse, and then you got Drake spitting the verse. So there is an automatic correlation to where Drake was getting ghost wrote for. Fat Joe, there's no reference tracks out there but Pun spitting Fat Joe's bars. And maybe they probably never will be, because those shits would be on reels anyway if that happened. Remember, this is the 90s we're talking about. A lot of he say, she say in the situation. Here's the thing I find nasty about it. Cuban, I know Cuban has a beef with Joe, but when you start attacking a man's pen, come on, man, that's low blow type of shit. That's low blow type shit, because you wouldn't have a career if Fat Joe would have never introduced you and put the work in to get you out there. He had to put Pun on. If for Pun to put y'all on, he had to put y'all on too. You know what happened after the fact with the face stabbing and all that shit, street shit. But all the bullshit about Joe always having ghostwriters, man, that's bullshit. It's bullshit. You go and ask Premier. You go ask, I never heard Premier, Pete Rock, any of these guys, Diamond D, Showbiz, none of those guys ever say Joe ever needed a ghostwriter. There might have been some of them cats to help out, because that's their man. But it doesn't mean that Joe ever had somebody write a verse for him. And let's just say if he did. What crime is it if you're Fat Joe and you're already dope and you have Big Pun writing bars for you? There's no crime in that. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but let's just say if I was Fat Joe, I wanted to go and just take care of the business shit. I would tell, yo, Pun, write my shit for me. I'll pay you some extra money. Just extra money up front. Write my shit for me. Because I'm taking care of business stuff. You know what I mean? So I can't look at Fat Joe and say, yo, this dude didn't write his own shit. I've heard too many bars from Fat Joe. If I've heard so many bars from Fat Joe, to where I find that highly unbelievable and improbable. For Joe to have somebody ghostwrite for him would be like saying Joe can't rap. And that is the biggest crock of shit ever. Joe could rap. Joe could rap his ass off. He's always been a nice rapper. He's great. Maybe not the greatest, but he can hold his own. He's always been nice with those bars. The idea that people feel they have to kind of agree with Cuban or agree with Sace and agree with these guys, because those guys were just helping him and just lending him lines. That had nothing to do with ghostwriting. Big difference. I think some of you guys really need to do a class on what ghostwriting is and what ghostwriting isn't. Ghost Squad TV, leave your comments down below. Peace.